Okay, well now I'll ask the first question here. Tell us, because it is a long time ago, about the diversity program and the other projects and duties that you took on at SLS and how it came to be.
Okay, it was a long time ago, and I'm delighted to see at least 3 people from those days that I admitted to Stanford. It's great to see you, and we have to talk afterwards a bit. I ran the legal aid office across the freeway, as I say, in East Palo Alto, which isn't the East Palo Alto you younger people know now. East Palo Alto was a predominantly black and poor community, and I ran the legal aid office there, and I had a number of Stanford students working for me at the office. And one day, one of them said words to the effect of, gee, that's really great. This was 1968. Sally Ann Payton is going to graduate this year, and she'll be the first black in the history of Stanford. I was stupefied to hear that. I know that we hadn't graduated many at Bolt, but we certainly had for a number of years. And so in those days, it was my style to say, I'm going to go talk to them and find out why they haven't graduated a black student before now, or a minority, really. They had not graduated an Hispanic at that time either. So I went over and had a very good and warm relationship with Dean Bayless Manning, who was the dean at the time. And, I'm exaggerating or just a bit to say that he said something to the effect, well, we don't discriminate. We'll take any black student with a 3.7 GPA and a 97 percentile LSAT score. And I said, it can't be like that. That's not what you're doing. And he repeatedly used the word, we have to have someone we can live with. And I said, I understand that, and I agree with that. You wouldn't do anyone a favor by bringing them in if they couldn't succeed. So we talked and had a number of talks, and during the process, we agreed that there were some studies at the time. The LSAT, by the way, was on an 800 scale in those days. And we agreed that there was a cultural bias on that exam that affected minorities, and we agreed that that ought to be 30 points or so. And we went about crafting a kind of program. And at this time, I wasn't thinking about working there. I was just consulting with them about starting it. And we agreed with what he could live with. And I said, the way to tell what we can live with is let me look at your admissions for the last 3 years. Now, I'll see what you can live with, because at the bottom there, whatever that is, that's what you can live with. And so we got that, and we agreed on that standard. And then I figured my job is gone. I'll put on my cape and fly across the freeway back to East Palo Alto. But about a week later, Keith Mann, who was the associate dean, called me and said, could we talk some more? I went over, and he offered me a job, a half-time job, to set up the program. And I thought it was important enough, because I thought I had the idea of how it ought to be done, that I talked to the legal aid people, and they were kind enough to let me do it. And I started on a half-time basis. I quickly realized that if none of you have tried it, there's no such thing as 2 half-time jobs. There really is not. And I was going under slowly. So I had to go one way or another back to the legal aid. And I had a young associate at the legal aid office who was really ready to step in. He was red hot, he was great. And so I recommended that he take over the office, and I went to Stanford on a full-time basis. And we started it going, and there weren't many minorities coming through the pike, in the college pike in those days. So we were competing with Harvard and Yale and Bolt and the top schools. And it was a pretty tough job getting minorities at first. But about 3.5 years later, I knew I had succeeded. We were getting over 20% of the entering class, and 2 faculty members came in. I don't remember one of them, but the other was Wayne Burnett, whom you both remember, and I knew I was really on to something and doing a good job when we talked. And Wayne said, "That's great, Thelton. Don't you think we have enough here now?" And I knew we were making the impact that I came to make. So that's the minority program, and we have some wonderful people. As I said, some of them are here, and that was really an important part of my life, starting that program and getting to know those people, and I'm still in contact with them.